Hi, I'm Meg Tucker from megtucker.ca, and this is Susan with the Egg Farmers of Alberta. How are you, Susan?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Meg.
Well, this is Cook with Meg. We did this a while back. They are back. Very excited to say that we'll be back in the kitchen cooking some awesome recipes, and I'm so excited that you're with us today. For those of you who know, I have been partnering with Egg Farmers of Alberta now for a few months, and when I got the call that said, how about we cook an Easter dessert, but have you joined by an egg farmer from Alberta? I said 100% yes.
Yes.
So thank you for coming to Red Deer to join me in my kitchen.
That's awesome. I'm glad to be here, Meg.
So, okay, why don't you share what we're making today, and then we're gonna get into it, and then we're gonna talk, I'm gonna chat with you while we're cooking.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So today we're gonna make an absolutely delicious, easy, and I even want to say relatively cheap spring dessert.
Yes.
It's great for Easter, but even all year around, you can serve it, you can customize it however you like. So we are making a spring pavlova.
Delicious.
With lemon curd and fresh berries.
Which is awesome because the pavlova, or as some people call it, a meringue, like a baked meringue, uses all parts of your egg.
Exactly. So we're not wasting anything. We're using the egg whites and the egg yolks.
Okay, so we're going to be posting the recipe for sure. The link would be eggs.ab.ca. That's the recipe that we're going to be following along today. You're the expert on this recipe. I have my cheat sheet, but we have all the ingredients. We're going to walk you through step by step, and then we'll post that link below as soon as we finish.
Sure.
Oh, and before we start, see this basket, guys? We're going to be giving that away. So you are so generous that we've put together some goodies. So you've got lots of utensils. You've got a month's worth of free eggs. So if you are interested in winning said basket, you definitely want to comment below and let us know why this Eggs Easter basket needs to be going home with you. So we'll have more details on that coming up.
You bet.
Okay, so let's get started. We are making Pavlova versus meringue. That's something that some people get confused over.
You know what? I don't know if there's an actual difference in the pavlova recipe.
Okay.
I first came across pavlova in my travels many, many years ago in Australia, where it's a very traditional dessert.
Right.
And so at that time it was called pavlova. Maybe people call it that way here, but it really is just a meringue.
A baked meringue.
It's a baked meringue. It's very simple ingredients. It's egg whites, sugar, a little bit of cream of tartar, and some people add in, there's a lot of varieties. I think ours has salt.
Just a little bit of salt. Some have vanilla.
Some have vanilla, and some recipes even call for cornstarch.
A little cornstarch to kind of maybe speed the process up a little.
Yeah.
Okay, and then pavlova can also be served with, you can make little individual pavlovas. Or you can make the bigger pavlova, you can put whipped cream and berries. And correct me if I'm wrong, but my mom, who we say might as well be the Queen of England, she eats and makes Eton Mess, which I know Jamie Oliver is a big fan of. So I don't know if this, you can tell me below if this, how it was created. I think it might have been a mistake where they took a meringue, they broke it into pieces, and then it's almost in a trifle bowl. So you do broken pieces of meringue with whipped cream and the berries, and they call it Eton Mess.
Okay.
So
I've never had that myself.
So good.
But it sounds delicious and less work than a regular
trifle. And if your meringue isn't perfect, break it all up and make a Eton Mess. Okay, so we're gonna get started with your eggs, and thank you so much for bringing them. So we have egg whites. All right, so we're gonna put those into our mixer. You can also use a hand whisk, electric
mixer.
Speeders.
So I probably wouldn't recommend like just a whisk, because you will be at this for like half an hour.
You will be. So so we've got our egg whites, and to that we're adding a little bit of salt and the cream of tartar. Again, full measurements are coming, okay? We won't bog you down with that right now. And then one recipe says add the sugar at the end, but do you add yours all at the same time?
So I tend to actually add it in little bits. But you know what? They all, in my opinion, turn out wonderful.
Right.
So whatever you're comfortable with, so you can just easily just take a spoon and add in a couple of tablespoons and drop some as
all
we
good.
speak.
All good.
You know, and just keep going like that.
Yep.
Throughout.
Yeah, and then you want, okay, for the sake of noise, because watch.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard for me to talk over that. So
Yeah.
you want to get that in. You want to keep it whisking until we see nice stiff peaks.
And so we have a lovely demonstration. I'm so proud of the little curl.
Look at that.
Curl right here. So you know, it should be really stiff and glossy, and those peaks should just pull up from your mixer head.
Yes.
And you know, almost stand straight up.
So again, just to recap, you've got your egg whites, you've got your little bit of cream of tartar and your salt. You get that going until it's bubbly and frothy.
Yeah.
And then little by little you add your sugar. Some recipes call for a little bit of cornstarch added to the sugar. Again, I've done it both ways and I think they both work. So for the magic of television, let's say we've done this about, how long? 8 minutes? 8-9 minutes even?
Yeah, it's going to take quite a while with a stand mixer even.
Yeah.
It will depend a little bit on what speed you're running at, how much power your mixer has.
Right.
So I would, you know, on a time scale, I would at least budget 10 minutes.
Perfect. And I say don't walk away too much because you definitely want to look for it and then you want to see that consistency. I'm so tempted to turn it upside down.
I know. Try it.
Could I?
Yeah, try it. It'll be right here.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh!
It's like the Dairy Queen blizzard. Okay, let's try it again.
Okay. See?
Okay, and I even wiggled it.
Okay, that's amazing.
That's good.
That's how you want. You have good eggs, Susan.
There you go.
Okay, so tell me, while I get the baking sheet ready, tell me a little bit about your world as an egg farmer with the Egg Farmers of Alberta.
So I've been an egg farmer all my life.
Okay.
My parents came to Canada from Germany in the late 50s.
Okay.
And started the farm in the early 60s, and so that's where my brother and I grew up.
Yeah.
Our farm had a whole bunch of different things over the years, but our staple thing was always the layers with the eggs.
Okay.
And so I have moved the business. I'm second generation farmer now. Hopefully we're going to transition to a third generation in the next couple of years. And I produce brown free-run eggs. Brown
free-run eggs. Okay, hold that thought. We'll start. We're going to do this while we talk. Do you do this trick where you put a little bit of...
I've seen that.
A little bit of meringue. It's not my original trick.
Nope.
But it really does help you hold the parchment in place. I use a pretty big baking sheet, but you can certainly use a couple of sheets.
Yep.
And it just acts as a little bit of glue.
Yep.
For the people who don't like to get messy, well, too bad. It's fine. Okay, so the other trick that I learned is that when you know that this is totally ready to go, you need to do this. You need to put a little on your finger, and when you rub your fingers together, you should not feel any grit.
That's correct.
Of the sugar.
Yeah, so this is like silky smooth.
Yes.
And it almost feels a little bit tacky.
Would I get sick if I ate this?
No.
No?
No.
Even though it's raw?
Yeah. So, you know, here's the day-to-day.
That's really good.
I know.
That's really good. Okay.
I think it's really all about safe food handling.
Okay.
I think if you are in a category where you are immunocompromised, elderly, very young babies,
then no.
Then I don't think you should eat a raw product.
Okay.
Whether it be egg whites or egg yolks or even a whole egg.
Okay.
So it's food safety. We are going to be baking all of this. The meringue is going to be baked, but the curd is going to be cooked.
Right.
So it should all be safe.
But then you hear of people who make eggnog.
Yeah.
With eggs, raw eggs.
Yeah.
That's probably a whole other topic of discussion, but
it is.
What I did was fine.
I think it's fine. I think like you have to follow really good food safety and safe handling practices. Refrigeration, use your eggs fresh, straight out of the fridge.
Right.
Keeping all of that cool, you know, all of that kind of stuff is things that you need to keep in mind. But we really work hard to make sure that the quality of the eggs that we provide are safe.
Awesome. Awesome. So I think you've got a spoon and I have a spoon. So what I do when I make this, I just kind of glob, because that's a technical culinary term, Susan, glob. a little amount, and then I kind of round it out. You can make them bigger, you can make it higher, and then you can make whatever peaks you want. There is a fun thing to do where you can put the curd in the middle of it, and then it kind of looks like an egg.
Yeah.
But you can get as fancy as you want with this. Do you have any tricks or tips that you do?
So one of the things, if you are really precise and you want everything to match and be the same size, you can take a pencil and draw a circle on the back side of your parchment paper.
Yes.
And then it's easy to follow the guidelines. So if you're not very good at eyeballing, you're not comfortable about all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Or if you're making a large one, and let's say your platter is a 9-inch or a 10-inch or whatever, you can just use a plate and draw that on the back of your parchment, not on the front, so that you're not getting your pencil.
Right.
And then you can just use that and glob all of your meringue into that. But this is perfect. This is beautiful.
The first time I did it, Susan, I'm going to tell you that I used like a large freezer bag. I won't say the brand. Large freezer bag. Put it all in, and then snipped the tip, and then piped it. So were they beautiful? They were stunning. Was it a disaster? It was a disaster. So honestly, you don't even really have to be that fancy. And the other thing that I have noticed, now that I feel like I've made these the last 3 days in a row, is that they don't really spread out. So where you put them is where they're going to be.
So don't forget, like there's like, it's not like a cake batter or anything where there's a rising agent in it.
Right.
So they don't have a tendency to spread out. So that's fantastic.
Which is great. So at this point, what we want to do is we've preheated the oven to 250, and then these need to go into the oven when you're making a couple of different pans. Let's say that's a pretty big bowl, probably a few pans. In my experience, you would put it on like the top-ish, third, and then bottom for an hour, but then kind of rotate them
halfway through,
unless you have fancy convection.
And in most cases, depending on if you have a larger, the large meringue, obviously going to take a little bit longer to bake than these smaller ones.
Yep.
And in some cases, you often turn off the heat.
Yes.
And you just let them cool in the oven. And when you're done, you kind of have this crisp on the outside and kind of marshmallowy thing on the inside going.
Yes.
Yeah.
So while these aren't difficult to make, it's around an hour in the oven at 250, and then you shut your oven off, and then another hour as the oven temperature comes right back down to 0. So we're going to, again, magic, just put these off to the side, because these traditionally now would go in the oven. So we'll let those do their thing. And then I want to talk about your eggs.
You bet.
So you mentioned free run.
Yes, my eggs are free run.
What is the difference between all of this? Did I just put you on the spot?
No, you didn't put me on the spot. I get to answer it. As a farmer, this is probably one of the most common questions that we get, except for the question about what's the difference between brown and white eggs.
I get asked that.
So brown chickens lay brown eggs, and white chickens lay white eggs.
And there it is, kids.
Yeah,
it's not complicated.
It's not complicated, and it's not magic.
Okay.
But the difference is we still have enriched housing where the birds are in a unit, a cage.
Yep.
Larger groups of birds, that's the common enriched housing.
Okay.
But my birds are actually loose in the barn.
Running free.
So running free, although they don't have access to outside. And so if you buy eggs that are actually called free range, those would be birds that they're loose inside and have access to the outside.
Got it.
And then you have one more step up if you are looking for an organic egg.
Okay.
So they are produced in free range housing.
Okay.
But they are certified organic, so they have all the requirements, including certified organic feed.
Okay, and I also learned through Egg Farmers of Alberta that a lot of people ask the question about the yolk.
Yeah.
So the yolks can be different colors, but that just depends on what the hens are eating.
Yeah.
So if it's a little darker yolk, it's a corn fed, which tends to be more in Ontario region out east, where corn's readily more available. But here, they're a little lighter because of the wheat.
That's correct.
Okay.
And so when you look at, some people really like one kind or another, but it is mostly a factor of what the birds eat. So for instance, two organic birds, so obviously they're not going outside when it's minus 35 like we had this whole February,
right?
But in the summer, when it's warmer and there's grass and those kinds of things, that also contributes to the color of the yolks.
Okay.
So it doesn't in any way affect any of the nutritional factors in the egg, except for if you're getting an enhanced egg like an omega-3 egg.
Okay, okay.
So an omega-3 egg, what makes it an omega-3? Because they're always like, oh, how do you do that?
Right.
So they are just fed an increased amount of flax.
Oh.
And so flax is naturally high in omega-3 fatty acids.
Yes.
And that then gets transferred into the nutritional side of the egg.
I think those are really great points. And I think that kind of dispels a few myths, because I think sometimes if you see something with really rich, vibrant colors, your brain might think that's better, but it's not really any different in the values.
Yes. So last weekend I was at Aggie Days.
Okay.
And I had a lady come up to me and she was like, so is it really true that brown eggs are healthier than white eggs? And I was like, no. Because I said, you're eating the inside of the egg, which is mostly the same if they have the same feed content. And I said, it's kind of like, I think there's a myth out there like brown bread, white bread.
The brown bread's better.
Brown bread is you know, whole wheat. And so this is somehow more natural. I love the brown birds. I love the brown eggs. For many, many years, we just produced white eggs as well.
Yep.
So it's truly just a personal preference.
So it really isn't one better than the other.
No, it isn't.
Good to know. That's really good to know. So now we've got our meringues baking in the oven, and the recipe that you've provided to us has a yummy lemon curd, which I literally could eat lemon curd by the bucketful. And this one is it's very simple to make. Again, we'll put the recipe up. But with a lemon curd, you obviously need lemon juice, you need egg yolks, and which we've separated. So again, so it comes back to using the yolk, using the whites. You're making a complete dessert. So if you want to put the yolks into the saucepan, this could not be easier, because you really are using the egg yolk, the lemon juice, the sugar. You could put a little bit of maybe a little vanilla, and then you're cooking that through. Recipe again would be up here on the website, so we'll put that up. So
I want to just remind you, Meg, though, before you juice your lemons, you should zest them.
Oh, right. Okay, so we'll zest this one.
I'll do that.
You zest, and I'll do the juice.
So I just, you know, in the effort to avoid all the extra dishes, I just tend to do them like this. Perfect. This is a fantastic grater, much better than the one that I have.
Thank you, thank you.
And you wouldn't believe the smell that comes off of these. And so a lot of the flavor comes, people think it's just from the juice. But it's actually from the zest and the natural oils that are in the lemon peel. You
can seriously rub this on your wrist and your neck and have a little lemon zest.
This is like eau de lemon right now happening.
So good. We wish you could smell it. The other thing is, and I really highly encourage this, get a really good juicer and a really good zester. I think sometimes we're a little, shy to invest in products, but I mean, I think this one was $9 or $10 in the same.
I'm a big Tupperware fan. Sorry, I know that I shouldn't say that, but I love Tupperware.
Why? There's nothing wrong with
that. And Tupperware is awesome for their juicer.
Right.
But like a good grater, you can't go wrong with this. Like, if you're making spaghetti and you've got some, great Parmesan cheese.
Perfect.
Easy.
It's perfect.
So here's our zested lemon.
Perfect. We're going to, for sake of TV, show you that this was the right amount of lemon juice.
Awesome.
So we're getting that in the pot, and then we've got our sugar. And then we're going to add our sugar, and then we will begin to whisk, which, by the way, if you can see in our basket, someone is going to be winning. Again, on a stove, let's pretend this is on the element. So you whisk everything over a medium-low heat for literally 10 minutes or so. Until you can put a spoon in it, pull the spoon out, and it coats the back of the spoon. So you pull it out and just run your finger down the back, and if it kind of makes a divide, you know that it's thick enough. This is one you can't really walk away from. So.
I was just gonna say, like,
yes.
don't just leave it there and you're gonna have it bubble.
Right.
And it needs to be done on relatively low heat.
Yes.
Because if you just put this up on high heat, you're actually gonna cook those egg proteins.
Yeah, you'll have scrambled.
And you will have scrambled eggs.
Yes.
Now, there's a little trick. Like, I wouldn't do it if you really messed up your batch. But if you want to get a silky smooth lemon curd, just run it through a really fine sieve.
Yes.
If you don't have a really fine sieve, you can take one that's a little coarser, run some cheesecloth through it, that kind of thing. So there's lots of different ways that you can do that and salvage it or even improve on what you have.
And I've done both. So I have done where I don't run it through, and you get the little bits of zest, which I personally am okay with, but then I've also done it where you run it through and there is a nice difference. So the basic curd recipe is that you cook it until you can coat the back of the spoon. For me, take it off the heat, add in your cubes of butter, because that's what sets it right over the top, stir it in, and then you want to refrigerate it for 2 or 3 hours for it to come really down in temperature. And then you can use this. It would store in the fridge for up to, would you say, a week?
Oh, I think a good week. Make sure it's covered, and keep it cool until you're wanting to use it.
Perfect. Okay, so let's say we've got our lemon curd ready.
Yep.
We also have our meringues ready. It's time to do a little decorating. So we'll throw this back here, and then through magic. Ta-da!
Look at those.
So we've got our little ones, and if you want to grab the bigger one as well, what I am going to do is we'll put a little plate here. So have you been an egg fan your whole life? I mean, when you're second generation, it's sort of built in, right? That you have to.
I think a lot of people think, you get tired of all that same kind of food. But honestly, I think there are so many different ways to use eggs.
So many.
And they are the cheapest form of protein around. Desserts, savory things. My family loves frittatas. So good. Because then you don't need to bother with the crust.
So good.
Frittatas, like we make main course meals, I can't even begin to tell you. I mean, I'm a big baking fan.
Yes.
That's why I'm here.
Love it.
But there are so many different ways to do it. And my family, when my kids were still home, I have kids in late teens, early 20s when everybody was still home.
Yep.
We probably went through a dozen eggs a day.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Simply because it's not just about what you're having for breakfast. Although we're a big fan of, pancakes and waffles and those kinds of things, but we would, bake with them and cook with them and often make like a quick lunch or supper meal as well. So good.
So I went right ahead because I just can't even stand it. It looks so good. So we took the bigger meringue. This would be Pavlova.
Yep.
I went right for it and put whipped cream.
Absolutely.
You don't have to just put whipped cream. We've got some curd here as well. There's your curd. So that is through the egg yolks that we used. So you could, and again, mine was in the fridge for just a few minutes.
So it's pretty stiff.
So
it's going to be a little harder. We're going to have to glob the technical term again.
Totally fine.
And, just do your artful little decorations as you go through.
Yes.
And this just adds a beautiful, bright, fresh flavor to your Pavlova.
So good.
We're gonna, maybe that's about all we want to put on for now.
I know.
Because, and don't forget, you're covering this with berries, so it doesn't matter if it's not
I'll
looking...
steal that curd from you and I'll fill the inside. And you can take
one?
your little guys, and there's blackberries here. We've got some blueberries. Certainly if they're in season, Saskatoon berries in Alberta would be fun.
One of my favorites, my family loves raspberries, strawberries. Like at Christmas time, this makes a fabulous dessert. If you want to go with the red and green, with kiwi and strawberries, you know, they're pretty available. If you really want to make sort of an exotic version, you could use mango.
Delicious.
There are just
delicious.
So as you can see, there are tons of different options.
I will say too that so look at this, kind of looks like a little egg. Add some
Isn't
berries.
it great? Yeah.
And then if you really wanted to do what I had said before, the Eton Mess. So this is where you would literally take it. You would break up your meringue into pieces. You can see this is still a little chewy, and then you would mix that in a bigger bowl with the whipped cream, with the berries. It's very rustic. And you just dive in, so it's almost served like a trifle. So very, very cool. Many ways you can serve it. That's beautiful. And again, it is just such an easy dessert that you can make. Really, the whole kids can get involved. This is something where you know, you can invite the whole family in. I've even seen people do raspberries and white chocolate shaved on top, which would be delicious as well. So what do people need to know about going to the store to buy Alberta eggs before we wrap up? Because I can't quite always tell if they're from Alberta.
So we have 170 egg farmers here in Alberta. We produce like millions and millions of eggs. For, you know, but we have a big population in Alberta as well. So what you're really looking for right now is the Canada Grade A.
Yes.
Virtually all the eggs that are produced in Alberta, and we have producers all the way from Fort Vermilion right down to Milk River.
Okay.
And
thank you so much. On that note, we are going to say once again, comment below for your chance to win this amazing eggs basket. We have created the Pavlovas with the berries, a number of different ways that you can serve it, but you can just see how easy it is to make right at home in your kitchen for Easter. I want to say thank you so much to you, Susan.
Thanks for having me.
I could cook with you all day, and P.S. you didn't see the before we started. Bit of a bomb went off in this kitchen. That's my fault. But thank you so much to everyone who watched. We hope that you enjoyed this recipe and that you will go pick up your eggs
at your grocery store, whatever's local to you. And if you want these recipes and more, many more, go to eggs.ab.ca for more recipes.
Awesome, and we'll put the link in below. So thank you. Have an awesome day, and thank you to you.
Thanks so much.
Happy Easter.
Take care. Happy Easter.